Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you very much, Paul, from down on the grid behind us here at Rockingham. Well, Tim, 3 weekends remain and 9 races remaining in this year's championship. But maybe we're going to look back at Knockhill as a bit of a championship tipping point for the Hondas, or maybe the MG of Jason Plato. How do you look at it?
Well, every race becomes more and more crucial now, doesn't it? I mean, Knockhill produced its drama. Rockingham has always produced great racing. I mean, there's always been a lot of passing and repassing and incident aplenty. Who knows? I'm sure it'll be as controversial, as exciting as ever. I'm looking forward to it.
And I've already had my producer in my ear saying it might rain before the end of the race as well.
Well, rain is forecast and looks very probable today. Whether it comes during this race, that would certainly throw the cat amongst the pigeons. I think there's a few cars out there that would love it to rain, because certainly Jason Plato seems to have it all under control pace-wise. So when you throw in a curveball like some weather, it can certainly help those that aren't perhaps as quicker over one lap in the dry.
Well, as everybody lines up on the grid, it was, as you said, when you were down there talking with Steve in the pit lane, Tim, what a stellar qualifying lap that Jason Plato did here yesterday with the MG. Just 2 flying laps he did, Tim, and even his second best time still good enough to be on pole position. He saved that car.
He has saved the car. I mean, the car's running fine anyway, and tyres here actually always used to be a big problem on the Super 2000 car, and it still will be for those on Super 2000 cars, because they're narrower, of course, than the NGTC, and they do have considerable drop-off here. This is the second hardest track on tyres after Thruxton. The cars are almost never in a straight line, and this turn 1, taken flat out at 130 miles an hour, really puts a load on the front-wheel drive cars. So it's a tough circuit on tyres.
No, it's going to be very difficult indeed for them to measure it throughout this race, but we can catch up with Rob Collard, the 2-time winner from Rockingham last time out. Rob, it's Toby up here in the commentary box. What a fantastic weekend you had at Knockhill. 50 points you took away from Scotland. It's not going to be easy for you today unless you can do one of your demon starts again.
Yes, Knockhill was a fantastic time for Team eBay. We've done a great job there. The team was fantastic, and if we can repeat that today, will be fantastic. But like you say, it's going to be very, very hard, because the B&W is not suited to Rockingham as much as the NGTC cars.
It might be raining before the end of the race. Have they told you that yet?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You know, anything that changes it and offputs the opposition is a good thing.
Okay, Rob, we'll leave you to finish off this warming up lap. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I thought, that he would like those changeable conditions. But let's look at the full grid.
Jason Plato takes pole position for the second year on the trot here at Rockingham Motor Speedway, ahead of Gordon Shedden. Andrew Jordan heads row 2 with Matt Jackson right behind him. Great result for Jackson there. Andy Neat, another good result. He heads row 3 ahead of the reigning champion and the championship leader, Matt Neal. Row 4, Frank Rathall, then Rob Collard, who we were speaking to a moment ago. Row 5 is Jeff Smith, fresh from that debut British Touring Car Championship podium last time out in Scotland. Adam Morgan, he's also on that 5th row. Row 6 is Tom Onslow Cole, and then Rob Austin with his Audi. Dave Newsham, winner at Knockhill, he's on row 7 with Howard Fuller, the 20-year-old from Surrey. He's racing in the Honda Civic 2011 specification car, and he's done a brilliant job in qualifying yesterday for Team Hard. Nick Foster is on row 8, Aaron Smith, Ollie Jackson returns, Will Bratt returns as well, racing the Rob Austin Racing Audi. Tony Hughes, he's back, and Chris James with his team ESRacing.com Vauxhall Vectra brings up the rear of our 20-man grid here. The leading S2000 chassis, that is Rob Collard on the grid, and that is in 8th position. Somebody's got a bit of a viewpoint there from on top of a helicopter. I've never seen that before. I hope he's got some rubber soles on those shoes.
They wouldn't let me do that. It might damage it.
It'll do more than damage it, Tim. Stop it. So then, as we line up here on the grid for round 22 of the 30-round 2012 Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Chris James just coming up to his position in 20th place, but the man on pole position is number 99, Jason Plato. From 52, Gordon Shedden. From Andrew Jordan, the number 77 car. And then the red, white and black Redstone Ford Focus of Matt Jackson. It's only the third weekend that Ford Focus has been racing. Brilliant start, now goes to second position. Andrew Jordan might be following him through, so the leader is Plato. It's Andrew Jordan in second place, actually. There's Shedden tucking into third. He's ahead of Matt Jackson as they go into the fifth pass for the first time.
Well, it was Jackson and Plato that got the best starts, and Jackson was up to second, so I'm not sure what happened through turn 3, but Jackson got shuffled back to fourth, and you'd have got good money on betting that all the cars would get round the first and second corners without incident, wouldn't you?
We've still got another 15 laps to go, Timothy. You should know better. Meanwhile, as they come around Tarzan for the first time, Plato's extending his championship lead as the heat pours out of the side exhaust of the MG. Andrew Jordan, look at Rob Austin. He's wheel to wheel with Rob Collard. Collard's got the inside line now as he tucks it through. Already a little bit of damage to the rear of the eBay BMW sideways rally style, and that's cost him dearly as Collard comes onto the home straight to complete the first lap.
Well, the difference there between the NGTC car of Rob Austin and the Super 2000 car of Rob Collard, very evident they're coming off the chicane. Rob was able to use the wider tyres to turn tighter and still accelerate up the inside of Collard.
Great line there from Andrew Jordan. He holds that second place. We're riding on board with him live, looking back at Gordon Shedden. Shedden, the man second at the moment in this year's championship. Where is the leader of the championship? Matt Neal. Answer to that, he's in 5th place. He's just at the back of the shot there, and Neal goes very wide. My goodness me. And he's lost a position, has Matt Neal. There he is in the number 1 car. Andy Neat has got ahead of him. So Matt Neal is now in 6th position. He's racing with that terribly sore right thumb after being knocked off his motorcycle a couple of weekends ago. He's got fractures in the bones in his hand, and he can't really grip the wheel with his right hand. That's going to hurt like hell tonight.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of cars that are looking a little bit loose on the rear at the back, and Matt Neal's is one of them, and he just got on the dirty part of the track there and ran wide. Matt Jackson's car also looks a little bit loose. Rathel up the inside there as he got past Morgan. He has nice clean move.
Frank Rathel, he had a drive shaft break in free practice yesterday morning, Saturday, destroyed the diff. He lost most of free practice number 2, and he still did a sterling job to qualify in 7th place, even without a lot of track time. Now we're on board with Rob Collard going down to turn 2. Will he be able to outbrake the Honda? I can't see that happening, Tim, or can I?
Well, you're not supposed to be able to outbrake an NGTC car in a Super 2000 car, but nobody's obviously told Rob Collard that. And a really sweet move up the inside, committing himself to the pass. Matt Neal gave him room, and really good charge by Rob Collard in this early lap.
Now we're back live on board with Collard, looking at the rear right door of the eBay Motors BMW. Now we come to the external shot. There is Collard, there is Neal, but there is your leader of the race. Jason Plato's banged in the fastest lap of the race, 1:23.2. That was the first flyer. A lap record already for Jason Plato.
Yeah, well, the fastest laps at this circuit are always done in the first 2 or 3 laps. This is the move by Collard on board, following Matt Neal, flat out through turn 1, lines it up, brakes late, uses as much engine braking as he can. Matt Neal sees it coming. Matt definitely doesn't want any of that wheel-to-wheel contact. That's what will put a nasty jolt through the steering and through his hand. So Matt looks like he's driving fairly cautiously at the moment.
Matt Neal, 7th position for him. There goes Newsham, there's Rathel, there's Morgan, and there was Tom Onslow-Cole. Onslow-Cole with the number 38 car as they come down to that hairpin once more. That's Andy Neat now. He's got to fend off the advances of Rob Collard's flying BMW. But the question is, Tim, here we are on lap 4. Collard's tyres are well up to working pace and temperature. What will they be like in another 10 laps time?
Well, that's when he'll start to struggle. The narrower tyre drops off quicker than the wider tyre on the NGTC cars, but Rob's still going to charge all the way. And if it does drizzle or just get a little bit damp at the end of the race, that'll help him.
Yeah, I can see all the pit crews. They're out on pit lane. They're ready and waiting just in case it starts to rain. A word from our ITV4 HD crew saying it is raining a few miles down the road, but will it come over our heads in the next 15-20 minutes or so? There goes Plato leading from Jordan second, from Shedden third, from Matt Jackson in fourth, from Andy Neate in sixth position, from then Rob Collard, from then it's Matt Neal and Rob Austin. Matt Neal and Rob Austin, the two cars prepared on the same estate in Pershore in Worcestershire as they charge underneath our camera. Now they're down to Dean Hairpin for the fifth time. Oh, that's Jordan missing the apex. That could be an opportunity in Gordon Shedden's ammunition against Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. Shedden looks very composed, very good. He's just clipping his lines off. No big dramas there. Andrew Jordan pushing very hard. Plato looks extremely comfortable at the front. You know, barring any mechanical problems, Plato's really just got to click these laps off. He's already set the fastest lap of the race, and he's really just driving very smoothly. Great shot there as the car start the left-hander, clipping some of the inside. That was Jackson that was in the dirt. Then they come through there. That's the long left-hander using as much curb as they can on the outside to keep the pace up. Rob Austin looking behind Matt Neal has forced Matt into some defensive driving, but Frank Raffles caught the both of them now.
There is the other Toyota, that is Adam Morgan with Tom Onslow Cole behind him. There's Jeff Smith battling with Aaron Smith. Jeff Smith in the blue, Aaron Smith in the red and black and white Ford Focus. There is Nick Foster, and there's Howard Fuller. He's in the Honda this weekend. Brilliant debut so far for his British Touring Car Championship career. Matt Neal now in seventh position. There's Rob Austin leaning on the car. Look at the angle of the splitter. Austin thinks about where he's going to go and opts for the right-hand side. He can't get past there. Can he get him on the cutback? Unlikely.
Well, this is a good rear-wheel drive circuit. There's a lot of accelerating out of tight corners where the traction of the rear-wheel drive cars works well. So Rob Austin should have a good car here. He was very good here last year, and with the NGTC spec on that car, he's got the same tyres as the front-wheel drive car. So I expect him to be strong through this race. Good to see two of the Audis out there. We have Will Bratt out there, of course, as well. But no Dan Welch in the Proton this weekend, sadly. He's saving a few quid for the remainder of the year, but great shame, because I think the Proton would have been quick round here as well.
Same for Lee Wood. He had some gearbox problems, and he decided to play it safe and get everything all sorted with his Vauxhall Vectra for Silverstone and the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. That will be our finale for the 2012 title chase on the 21st of October. Still, it's Smith and Smith. I reckon Smith will get ahead.
Yeah, you're safe in that one, Toby, definitely. Good little battle between these two, but I mean, just to give you some idea of Plato's pace, he's the only car lapping in the 23s at the moment. Very, very quick. And his drop-off only half a second so far from the best lap. A nice, comfortable 4-second lead.
So then, once more, we've got a defensive line by Matt Neal against Rob Austin. Rob Austin, he's got a few pictures on the roof of the car for people who've chipped in a bit of pocket money, including me. Oh, I got my picture on the roof. Somebody said, why don't you put the picture on the bumper so I can get hit?
Yeah.
I thought I'd put your picture on it, Tim, but I decided against it.
I haven't chipped in. I can't afford that kind of sort of sponsorship. Can you imagine if I gave one driver any help? They'd all be on the phone to me.
I'll tell you, it's 35 quid, so, you know, it's a round of drinks.
Well, it's all right.
It's a round of drinks.
I am going to publish your phone number on Twitter, and they can all ask you for 35 quid next time.
No, it's a little bit of fun, But as these guys continue their battle for second position, it's Getting ever closer now for Matt Jackson, isn't it? Oh, the Smiths have gone into the gravel. Aaron Smith is going to try and keep the wheel spinning. Will he just about get to the service road to the edge? No, he hasn't. Jeff Smith has managed to keep it going. And look, he's dug himself a hole. And Aaron Smith, the first race of the day, ends in the gravel here at Rockingham.
That was definitely Smith's fault.
You've been keeping that one up your sleeve, Tim. Plato leads by 4.3 seconds ahead of Andrew Jordan, Gordon Shedden, and then Matt Jackson. Here is the battle for fifth position. That's Andy Neate, and then there's Matt Neal with Rob Austin. Rob Austin getting ever closer, is he? Look at the fire and flame. Was that a problem? I've never seen so much flame come on the overrun.
It does look like a problem because Matt's driving very defensively. Normally, yeah, those are problems. The car must be cutting out or something. There's something wrong there.
Ooh, he's getting ever closer as we are with Matt Neal looking at the rear, and this has given a great opportunity for Frank Brathwaite behind in 9th position to close up on the Honda and the Audi. Through Gracelands we go, through the left-hander. Now this is the Smith. Oh, and Jeff Smith lost it on the brakes and tagged Aaron Smith's red Ford Focus.
Well, I told you it was Smith's fault. I'm not saying which one. I think, to be fair, that he's braked a bit too late. The back has come round and turned him into the back of Smith. And in fact, that contact with Smith is almost identical to the contact Smith had with Plato up at Knock Hill. But that really was a racing incident, unfortunate as it may be for Aaron Smith.
Hopefully the car will be all right for the next race later here today on ITV4 and ITV4 HD. There goes Andy Neate through your shot. 5th position for him, ahead of Rob Collard. As Andy Neate is on course for his best finish of the 2012 season. Meanwhile, let's have another look and see how the number 1 Honda battles against the Audi as they come into the right-hander at Yentwoods. That's Aaron Smith walking away. I don't think we better put a microphone near him for the next 30 minutes or so.
Well, I think this was always going to be a very difficult race for the front-wheel drive Super 2000 cars. That's Newsham, Aaron Smith, Chris James. They haven't got the tyre to work round this circuit. So they were always going to struggle a little bit. Collard in the rear-wheel drive car, which is slightly more suited to this track, doing the best job of all the Super 2000 cars in 6th place.
We are on board with Rob Collard. Coming into the final section, the Brook chicane, hard on the brakes, bangs it down the gearbox. Goes left, cuts the curb. You can't cut that left-hand final curb too much, and now we feed ourselves onto the banking. It's a 1.5 mile oval that we've got here at Rockingham. It was used a couple of times for the IndyCar Championship back in 2001 and 2. Gilles de Ferran won the first race. Dario Franchitti won the year after. But we're not seeing speeds of 215 miles an hour here today. Look at the different ways to try and skin a cat as Rob Collard tries to get ever closer to Andy Neate, and he might have the drive. Can he get across the nose of the number 44 car into Yentwood? No, he can't.
He's trying to cut back, but, well, Neate's just driving a massively defensive line, which is going to be very slow indeed round the lap. Look how defensive he is everywhere. But Collard was surprisingly much quicker through the apex of turn 1 on the banking, but couldn't carry that momentum. But I think it's only a matter of time before Rob has a real good go at it.
And this is the battle between Rob Austin and Matt Neal. And Matt Neal and Rob Austin come into contact, and Austin goes round. Matt Neal gets it on full opposite lock, and all the hard work that Rob Austin has done has lost him 2, 3, maybe even 4 places here on lap 10.
Well, that was interesting because both cars were sliding, but Matt Neal in the front-wheel drive car was able to bury the throttle and keep the front end pulling forwards. Poor old Rob Austin in the rear-wheel drive car, once it started to slide, he had no control over it.
Now Rob Austin down to 14th position behind his teammate Will Bratt. Here we have this battle between Neate and Collard. This is 5th and 6th position. I remind you that Jason Plato leads this race by 4.5 seconds from Andrew Jordan and Gordon Shedden, second and third position. Again, Collard goes to the right-hand side as he is looking at it. He struggles for grip. They pass Ollie Jackson's Golf GTI on the right-hand side. Collard desperate. What a real terrier he's trying to be to get past that number 44 MG. He's going to have to come into a right-hander. He's going to have to go around the outside, and he just about does it. There's going to have to be some leeway given by Andy Neate, and he does it. He set that up 4 corners earlier.
Well, what he did was he actually learned from the last lap where Andy Neate turned in and stayed very tight on the apex and the exit of that corner, and so he used his momentum to just take the normal racing line and carry more speed.
Now this is Frank Rathall losing 8th position to Adam Morgan's Toyota, and that looks like Dave Newsham going through ahead of Rathall. The precious track time, and Tom Onslow Cole. Can he get past the number 11 orange Dynajet Toyota? That'll be a battle we'll have to keep an eye on. Yeah, Rathall still struggling, lack of practice time yesterday with a broken drive shaft and then a diff. So then, Plato soldiers on. He knows his way around this Rockingham circuit in a British touring car. Remember that he even did some ASCAR races, that sort of British NASCAR championship that was tried to get off the ground a few years ago, and it's proving, well, trumps for him here today in the MG. Second is Jordan, third is Shedden. That is Adam Morgan. He's gone off and he's tried to get it going again. I can't see where on the racetrack, or is it just ground to a halt as he's coming around to complete the lap. He's limping in. Meanwhile, this is Rob Austin with Nick Foster. So that is now Austin up to 11th place with the Audi against the BMW, 13 versus 14. 18. As they go on, there is Neate looking at Rob Collard disappear little by little. That is Dave Newsham. He's in 8th place. Tom Onslow Cole in 9th, and then Frank Rathall, he's in 10th place. There goes second, third and fourth.
Yeah, this second, third and fourth is definitely closing up. Jackson's been closing up on the back, Shedden, who's dropped away just a little bit from Andrew Jordan. So look how Jackson's very aggressive over the curbs, always very aggressive. Matt Jackson takes the tight line, interestingly, out of the chicane, which is the shorter distance and very much suits the front-wheel drive car. Through the speed trap there, Jason Plato 108, Matt Jackson 110. So the quickest car through of that group, certainly through the speed trap there.
On the home straight there, that's where the speed is taken, right in front of our commentary box. Now Matt Jackson there with the Redstone Ford Focus. He had a tremendous debut weekend at Snetterton for that NGTC chassis car, built by Motorbase, clinched a 4th position first time out, and he's on course for a 4th position here in the opening race of 3 at Rockingham. But there is Gordon Shedden, and this is going to do no harm at all to his championship challenge. So far as Jason Plato is concerned, over these last 9 races in this year's championship, he's got to just go hell for leather. He's 36 points behind Matt Neal at the moment. There are 20 points available for a victory. His dad looks on nervously from the pit garage. Fingers crossed, ticking away these final laps. And if Plato can win a couple and the others are sort of 3rd or 4th, it may well level up.
Collard and Neal side by side. This is the battle for 5th place. Coming up to the final chicane. Collard's got the inside line. He's going to hold on that slight lock up. Matt Neal staying off the curbs. Those big, oh, he hits that one. But those big curbs, they're the ones he wants to stay on for his wrist. Again, takes the tight line. Super 2000 car runs wide, but look at the speed on the straight. That Honda's still struggling for the straight line speed, certainly against the BMW.
2.5 miles an hour difference. Oh, and that's Jeff Smith who's had an off into the tyre wall. And
that looks like the exit of Gracelands. I should think he's got a wheel wide on the exit of Gracelands and then spun off across to the other side of the track.
Oh, and that thing's a big mess, isn't it? Fortunately, he's immediately out of the car. He's perfectly okay and nothing dented. Well, there is a lot dented, as well as his pride. And that car is in a mess. Yeah, there was 2.5 miles an hour difference between the BMW and the Honda of Collard and Neal as they came over the line, and that's the difference and the problems that the Honda Works squad have got with the current regulations to try and keep up in a straight line. Meanwhile, this is Rathel with Foster in 11th position. We cut back to Collard and Neal. We have got 2.5 laps remaining. 5th position for these guys. This is going to go down to the wire. The car leading, its tyres will be going off because they're narrower and they've done more work. There you see a perfect example of such a problem. Whereas Matt Neal, who we're riding with, he's got about 10 centimetres more rubber actually on the tarmac. They're wider by 2.5 centimetres each corner, and his tyres won't be going off to such a degree.
Exactly, and but Rob knows the strength of his car against the Honda, and that's on the straight. So as long as he blocks Matt in the corners and gets a good exit onto the straights, he's always going to have enough gap come the braking area. But Matt will close up, certainly through Piff Paff and the long left-hander, the cornering sections, but they're difficult to pass on.
Leading 4 away into the distance, some 12 seconds ahead of these guys. Jason Plato's got a 4-second advantage at the head of the field. He's on course to take not just 20 points for the victory here, but 21 points because he got a point yesterday for clinching pole position. But you only get that when you start the race.
You do, although we all know he's got it, but yes, they don't actually count it for the points until you do it. Now look, Jason's eyes are fairly sort of relaxed, as you'd expect from this race. No great drama, he's just clipped the laps off, looked after the tyres, learned a little bit about how the car works over the period. Obviously he'll gain some weight for the next race. He will be up to maximum balance of 45, but he has been running with 27 on now, so a small difference really in the overall overweight. Now that's interesting. As he went through turn 1, the slightly scary turn, his eyes widened. Did you see that on board? And shows that when he's concentrating, his eyes open up.
There is the blue Honda, the Pertec Honda of Andrew Jordan. They come in to pass some back markers. Third is still Shedden, and then Matt Jackson. That's a 12-second gap before we catch up with the Collard-Neal battle. But Jason Plato on course to take maximum score out of the first of 3 races here today at Rockingham Motor Speedway. That car is all sorted to this racetrack. I remind you that he took pole position here last year, and hey, quelle surprise, he went on to win the first race here last year ahead of our own Paul O'Neill.
Yes, a great result that for Paul, but Plato's done exactly what we thought, got a good start, avoided any kind of instant the first corner, and just gradually pulled away and looked after the car. I strongly suspect even with the weight, if he can make a good start in race 2, if it's dry, which is a big if, he could do the same again.
Jason Plato comes into the final corner. He comes onto the home straight, and Jason Plato takes his 4th victory of the 2012 British Touring Car Championship season. A round of applause from the crew on pit wall. It's been a while since he's winning, but now he's back on winning form. Second goes to Andrew Jordan, ahead of Gordon Shedden. Matt Jackson with the Redstone Focus gets 4th place. Who's going to get 5th? Is it going to be Rob Collard? Yes, it is. That's a tremendous result for an S2000 car in 5th, and the injured reigning champion and championship leader Matt Neal clinches 6th position and just 10 points from the first race here today. Neal racing with a terribly injured right thumb, struggling to hold on to the steering wheel, but Plato has gone in and taken the maximum score. Fastest lap of the race as well for Jason Plato. He set that on the 2nd lap, the first flying lap here at Rockingham this morning. The conditions so much cooler than they were yesterday afternoon. Fortunately for the Triple Eight guys, it didn't rain, and for the Plato fans who are here at Rockingham, big hugs all round. Now they're going to be looking to the skies, because the last time we had a wet race, if my memory serves me well, that was back at the very cold and underwater Thruxton. Always like wet races. Never rains in the commentary box, Tim, does it?
No, it certainly does. I was just listening in on the Rob Collard in-car pit radio to the team, and Rob really did drive a good race there. You know, that can't be overestimated, and I have to say Rob has really been leading that BMW team. A lot of people thought Tom Onso Cole would come in and dust him off, but Rob has showed true class, and you know, that really was a good result. The team very pleased with him. He was saying the car was great, and you know, not too much drop off on the tyres, and I think he did very well.
But it's Jason Plato who's got his lights flashing. He knows how to win races. He's the most successful British Touring Car Championship winner. He's already won 2 championships. Might this be the battle to the very final race this year? Might it be his 3rd? Well, the Honda guys have got to have something to say about that. Jason Plato, though, takes the first victory here today, 3 seconds ahead of Andrew Jordan, who's back on the podium with the Pertec Racing Honda, and then Gordon Shedden's Honda Yuasa Racing Honda, the sister car, in 3rd. Matt Jackson 4th, only a 10th back of the podium. Rob Collard, as we discussed, in 5th. Matt Neal, he's then in 6th place. Neat, Onslow Cole, Rob Austin after the spin, he gets 9th, and then Nick Foster in 10th place. Rathall, he had a bad start, then he came a bit further up, and then it just didn't quite work out, but he got ahead of Dave Newsham. Chris James in 13th, ahead of Howard Fuller, who has been racing Tony Gillam's Honda here this weekend, and Tony Hughes getting a point in 15th. Brett Smith, Morgan Jackson, Aaron Smith having their respective problems. Now let's have a look at the all-important title race. Oh, it's closed up, hasn't it? Matt Neal started with a 10-point advantage over Shedden. It's now 5. Matt Neal started with a 36-point advantage over Jason Plato. It's now 23. Andrew Jordan stays in 4th position. But healthy points. He's getting very close at the top, isn't it? It's getting very close. Rob Collard stays in 5th. Tom Onslow Cole, not a great result for him this morning, but he stays in 6th. Matt Jackson, he's 17 behind the BMW. He could bridge that gap. Newsham, Rathall, and then Jeff Smith, who unfortunately didn't score here this morning. But it's
after his calm, controlled first race victory, this promises to be a very different challenge indeed for Jason Plato. But at the head of the field, as the rain continues to fall heavily, he's in absolutely the ideal position. Wet conditions here at Rockingham, round 23 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Tim Harvey and Toby Moody with a commentary.
Thank you, Steve. Well, Tim, the rain has come, and hasn't it bucketed down from over our shoulders here at Rockingham Motor Speedway. It's not a half and half, it's the full wet conditions, and we've got a possible problem with Andrew Jordan's number 77 Honda. It's in 2nd position on the grid. We have a link into the ship-to-shore pit radio that Andrew has got with the Pertec Honda squad, and there's been a problem with the wipers. But having said that, there you have live pictures and confirmation that it is working again. There was a problem with it tripping out, and hopefully they've got that thing sorted. Tim, when you won that very wet race at Donington Park, I think your wipers worked, but it was steaming up from the inside.
Yeah, I mean, in actual fact, the teams all put a product on the windscreens to enable the water to bead up and run off very quickly. And in actual fact, it's very effective. I mean, the wiper can never clear enough water when you're following directly behind a car. And although it may sound terrible, in actual fact, they can run without the wiper with the water speeding off. But it's working at the moment, and we'll hope it stays that way. Certainly from driver confidence, it's always nice to have your wipers working.
Well, Jason Plato, he's on that pole position. Andrew Jordan in 2nd, and then we have got Gordon Shedden in 3rd, Matt Jackson right behind him in 4th position. There is Matt Neal. He will be starting from the outside of the 3rd row, 6th position for the number 1 car, the leader of the championship now by a reduced margin. He started the day with a 10-point advantage. It's now 5. Jason Plato started 36 points adrift. He's now 23 back. You've just got a bit of a vibe here today, Tim, that this championship, by the time we have this race and then the final race later today here on ITV4, it's going to be game on again.
Well, it's going to ebb and flow with every race now towards the end of the year. You know, as Alan Gow said, you can't pick a favourite. It will ebb and flow depending on their fortunes. And certainly you know, this is now a wet race. Most of the drivers have not driven their cars really in anger, the NGTC cars in the wet, so the setups will be a little bit random. The BMW will make a good start, and it's a long run down to the first corner, but it won't be as good on overall pace because, as Nick Bennett said, it just hasn't got enough tyre under it. Matt Neal, with his injured hand, he struggled in the first race, but there's a lot less loading on the cars in the wet. It's a much more tippy-toe driver experience in the wet, so he will be a little bit more comfortable in the car. There's a lot of ifs and buts between the championship favourites.
Into the eyes of Matt Neal as he sits there in that 6th position, and as the final couple of mechanics just leave the vehicles, it's now down to these guys. All the pressure is on their shoulders. Interestingly enough, I saw one of the mechanics from Andrew Jordan's Pertec Honda squad put some orange tape on the wall on Andrew's right-hand side to just show him that is his starting point, because sometimes, Tim, when you come up to the grid, maybe the light is reflecting off the water on the road. There's lots of other lines for other grids, for motorcycles, for other forms of four-wheel motorsport, and he's got a marker. It is at that point.
Exactly right. It's a common thing to do. You can see another marker. It's just on the right there on the wall for Rob Austin. It's a common practice. It does help you when you come up to line up on the grid, and people have been penalised for lining up outside of the correct box previously, so you don't want to make that mistake and ruin your race before it's even started. Well, Jason Plato made a fabulous start in the first race in the dry, a whole different kettle of fish now in the wet, and already we have the wide-eyed Jason. So he's going to practice the start. Look, he's looking at his revs, he's looking to get going. He's going to practice the start now off the dummy grid. And it wasn't a very good one, I can tell you that. So we want to improve on that for the second race, for the start of the race proper.
Green flag lap here at Rockingham. Jason Plato winning the first race of the day here a couple of hours ago, and he not only took the 20 points for victory, but he took a point for pole position that he clinched yesterday, a point for fastest lap, which he did on lap 2, and he took a point because he led the race. So he was the first person to take a full maximum score of 23 points this year in this year's British Touring Car Championship. Into the eyes of Andrew Jordan, and Andrew Jordan's wipers have all gone askew, and they're all wrapped up like scaffolding, like spiders' legs. Look at them. Well, fortunately, he's got the Rain-X. Now, Andrew Jordan, we can catch him live. Andrew, it's Toby up here in the commentary box. Are you going to be okay? We've seen that your wipers are all mangled up.
I don't know, mate. It's okay when you get moving, because the guys put the Rain-X on the screen, but I think I'm a bit worried about is sat on the start line with the water gathering. If I'll be able to see the lights or not.
Okay, Andrew, best of luck. We'll leave you to concentrate. Well, they took the wipers off their mounting points, Tim, but maybe they just got out of sync. Who knows? Anyway, Jason Plato is on the pole position for the second time here today ahead of Andrew Jordan. Second row is Gordon Shedden from Matt Jackson. Third row, Rob Collard. And then the championship leader, Matt Neal. On to row 4, it's Andy Neitz ahead of Tom Onslow Cole. Row 5, Rob Austin and Nick Foster. Frank Rathall, Dave Newsham, they make up row 6. Chris James and Howard Fuller. Tony Hughes, Will Bratt, Jeff Smith, Adam Morgan. And then towards the rear of the field, it's Ollie Jackson and Aaron Smith, who are at the back on row 10.
Well, the weight obviously has, the success ballast has less effect in the wet. It's all about traction and grip. But for reference, obviously, Jason Plato now carries 45 kilos from winning the first race. He was at 27. Andrew Jordan is on 36 kilos. He was on 9. Gordon Shedden is on 27. He was on 36, so he actually loses a little bit weight. And Matt Jackson is on 18 kilos rather than 0. And Rob Collard stays the same at 9, but it has less effect here in the wet.
Jason Plato does the last chance of a practice start before he lines up with the marshal on that pole position. Andrew Jordan is just to Plato's right-hand side, but the wipers not working. Fortunately, the screen should be clear for him, but as he said when we joined him on the warming-up lap, only when the car is moving. The rest of the drivers coming towards the rear of the field. It's Charlie Butler-Henderson who's driving the safety car at the back. So he's managed to put his crash helmet on for the first time this year, but he's not in the race. It's Jason Plato who's on the pole position. From Andrew Jordan, from Gordon Shedden, from Matt Jackson. There we have the Audi at the rear and the green flag being waved. They've been sitting a long time at the front. They're under starters' orders in a moment's time as we're going to go racing here at Rockingham for the second time here today. Wet conditions. We had a great race at Thruxton when it was wet. Brilliant start once more from Andrew Jordan. Rocket start from Rob Collard, who's going round the outside. Will he make that stick? That's going to be a tremendous start. 3 abreast, 4 abreast as we go down to the second corner here at Rockingham. It's going to be Andrew Jordan, is it? But Plato might be on the inside. Collard moves over. Andrew Jordan makes it stick. Collard goes a little bit wide. And there is one of the Vectras going on. And there's Jeff Smith avoiding the already spun Andy Neat at turn 2. Leading is Andrew Jordan.
Yeah, and second is Rob Collard, and predicted with great start from Collard all the way around the outside. Plato down in third. Here he is on the outside, fourth
position as he goes around. I think Matt Jackson has gone off as well on the Ford Focus. He's hit one of the advertising banners. Drama indeed. I love wet races, but I'm not the one out there driving. Andrew Jordan, what a brilliant start, and he's got a clear view with the wipers not working.
Yeah, that's the best place to be if your wipers don't work, isn't it? Out in front without avoiding the spray. And I mean, I think that Collard is going to be a little bit of a roadblock. It's going to be up the inside from Shannon.
Yes, he goes through to second position. Jason Plato might get through to third. He's alongside Rob Collard, who's sliding it with a 4-wheel drift on the exit of the hairpin. Plato has to tuck back in. He's looking one way then the other. This is a championship couple of laps for Plato.
Well, he needs to be aggressive to get past Collard so the first 2 don't get away, but he can't take a big risk. He's going to have more grip. Look how much tighter he can come out onto the banking. Massively. And he's already alongside Collard.
It's going to be Plato in third position as he crosses the line. Collard's got a greater run, and Collard's on the marbles around the outside of turn 1 here at Rockingham, going through the mist, probably using the wall as a guide.
Well, I think he's using the extra grip perhaps on the dirty part of the track. You know, it's less polished offline, and that was super brave by Collard. And Plato, who has raced ASCAR on this circuit round the oval, well, he was outdone there by Collard. Oh, well, that's neat. We saw him go off, didn't we? He's in the gravel track, but Shedner's very quickly closed up behind Andrew Jordan.
So Andy Neat out of the race. A big slide by Jason Plato, and that gives the opportunity for Matt Neal to close up on his arch rival. There are your leaders, 2 and 3, 4, 5. 5th position for Matt Neal as the safety car is coming out. So the 2 Hondas leading this race, Andrew Jordan and Gordon Shedden. They're probably yet to be told, and now the message has got through that the safety car is coming out to try and remove the number 44 MG of Andy Neat. I can't spot where the car has gone off. Oh, it's gone off at Tarzan Hairpin. So Andy Neat, who was going so well in qualifying, maybe could have got a second position were it not for a bit of a mistake over the chicane. But instead, still a strong first race for Andy Neitz when he was battling with Matt Neal and Rob Collard et al. That was a quick glimpse there of Chris James coming out of the pits. Crikey, we can catch our breath now, Tim. That was a dramatic first couple of laps as we wait for Andrew Jordan to be collected by the safety car, which is waiting for him down towards turn 2, just behind our camera. There is the Porsche.
Well, I was massively impressed by Rob Collard's commitment there, because he clearly doesn't have the lateral grip from his tyres, but he was so brave round the outside of Plato at turn 1 on the banking.
Now we might have the chance to catch up with Andrew leading this race. Andrew, it's Toby up here in the box. You're in the right place to see what's going on.
Yeah, I am, mate. It's bloody slippy, I'll tell you that. trying to get us any temperature if I can. But Gordon looks pretty strong behind, so off this restart I just need to get my eyes forward and try and check out.
Okay, best of luck, Andrew. Sorry for the language there, but obviously the blood is pumping, the adrenaline is coursing through his veins, and this is a chance for Andrew Jordan to maybe clinch his second victory. Here's a replay of the start.
Initial great jump by Andrew Jordan, but look at Collard all the way round the outside. And I mean, this told him straight away there was grip to be had on the outside. Some cars down on the flat, there's very little grip there, but Collard just couldn't quite nose his way in. Andrew Jordan protected the inside. Plato is sort of following through, but Collard all the way around the outside. At the back, there's contact between Neat and Newsham, and a huge avoidance, very well held by Jeff Smith. This is on board with Plato, a little bit too much wheel spin initially, and you'll see on the right-hand side, you'll see, well, both Andrew Jordan and Rob Collard. He's right down on the tyre side. There goes Jordan using the impetus and inertia off the line. He tucks across inside, and there's Collard. We just can't quite get inside.
Brilliant onboard pictures. Best first couple of corners all season, I reckon.
Yeah, fantastic. But the reason that Andrew Jordan was so pumped up when he was spoken to on the radio there is your concentration levels in the wet are absolutely off the scale. You are driving on your nerve endings, literally your nerve endings, because the whole car is sliding around, your eyes are out on stalks, you're feeling every bit of movement and slide in the car. You're concentrating super much, and that's why he was so focused when we spoke to him.
Can't blame him. He's leading the Independence Trophy Championship, 39 points ahead of Rob Collard at the moment. That's Andrew Jordan's target this season, to be victorious in the Independence Trophy. In the overall standings, he's 4th overall, and at the moment only 10 points behind Jason Plato, only having had one victory to Plato's 4.
Yeah, very close. That shows the cost of not finishing, doesn't it, really? Safety car lights are still on at the moment. The train is all behind. Matt Jackson, we saw have a moment over. There he is there. He's actually still in 6th place, so he's still very competitive. There was a lot of toing and throwing on that first lap, but Jackson's still in. He obviously started in 4th, but he's in 6th place now. There's Newsham, he's dropped to the back at 18th. He had to do a 16-point turn on the banking to get round and rejoin, but at least he's had this safety car to close the gap up.
So Matt Jackson there in 6th position. Tom Oslo-Cole behind him. Aaron Smith, Frank Rathall. There's a view into the MG garage. Andy Neat's engineer on the right-hand side. Jason Plato's dad pacing around. Not quite like a bear with a sore head, but a nervous bear, I should say. There is Mike Jordan, father of Andrew, leading this race. And the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. That's just in a couple of corners' time, as that view there of them coming into the Tarzan hairpin behind the pits, behind the paddock area. And as we peer through the murk, we see them collecting themselves for the restart.
Well, obviously, Jordan and Shedden's car, they were both built by Dynamics, exactly the same car. They do have data. Oh, James has gone off under the safety car, trying to catch up. He's going to keep going. Fortunately, he didn't get into gravel, so the safety car can still come in. But the setups of those two cars for the leaders, they're both down to each individual team.
We are back racing here at Rockingham as Andrew Jordan goes through the rain and continues to lead through the first corner. The rest of the runners and riders coming over the line. And as Andrew Jordan leads with a clear view, the wiper's still broken on his number 77 Pertec Honda. Second.
He's gone straight off.
Oh, Andrew Jordan's lost the lead. Gordon Shedden takes the lead. Jordan, the team have no words. He's lost the lead. Shedden leads from Rob Collard, from Matt Neal, who takes 3rd position ahead of Jason Plato, who tucks into 4th position, but immediately fights back as they go up into the right-hander. Has Plato got the inside line, and there's contact, and Matt Neal is on full lock, and he loses a position now to Matt Jackson. Oh, the Rockingham battle between Neal and Plato continues in 2012.
Neal and Plato have contact. That's a new story, isn't it, BTCC? Hold on, it may not be finished yet. Remember, when Matt punted Plato at Snetterton, Plato came back and punted him, and now we're the other way around. Let's see what actually happened. The two are side by side at the background. There was contact, and Plato is running a bit wide there, so I assume he carried a bit of extra speed. This was Matt Neal's pass, which was actually looked fair and square, got up the inside, ran a bit wide. Now this is, we didn't see the end of it. I think Plato was trying to get up the inside.
And Matt Neal's lost a position to Matt Jackson just as he went through the bottom of the shot. So Matt Neal there with the Honda Racing Civic has lost 2 places in about half a lap here at Rockingham. There's your leader, Gordon Shedden, over the line already. I'll tell you what, Jason Plato could get second position, and indeed he has, as he goes into turn 1. He's going to duke it out with Rob Collard's BMW here on lap 6, down to the hairpin, to the position where we saw Andrew Jordan outbrake himself. Oh, and Matt Neal is looking to outbrake everybody else into the hairpin, but Matt Jackson is there. This is a brilliant race.
Yeah, I think Andrew Jordan's problem was the tyres had got a little bit cold behind the safety car. He didn't allow enough for it. He's dropped all the way back to 11th place now. So a real disappointment for Andrew Jordan, but the others are certainly making hay. There he is coming into shot just in front of Morgan, so he's up to 10th.
Well, Andrew Jordan, what you were saying, Tim, you know, your senses are out on stalks in the rain. You don't want to hold onto the wheel too hard, and yet you want to be there when the thing loses grip. Meanwhile, Matt Neal taking a position away from Rob Collard. So Collard going from 3rd to 5th position here at Rockingham. As Matt Neal is looking aggressive on the brake sensor Tarzan, and he goes through the more sorted Civic, passing the less sorted NGTC Ford Focus of Matt Jackson.
Yeah, you have to give credit to Motorbase and Matt Jackson. I mean, that car hasn't run in the wet, and he's up against probably the best NGTC chassis out there and doing a very good job, but he's certainly holding his own. But Matt Neal looks like he's got his pace back, and he'll be chasing after Plato, who's not that far in front.
There is your leader, Gordon Shedden. He's leading Jason Plato by 2 seconds as they come over the line. Matt Neal in that 3rd position, Matt Jackson right on his tail, and Matt Neal, I remind you, essentially racing here this weekend with a broken right thumb. He can't grip the wheel, he can only cup his hand around the rim. This is a replay. Jeff Smith, Howard Fuller, Dave Newsham, all getting all locked up, and a bow wave coming off the front of the number 17 Vauxhall Vectra into the gravel.
Well, I saw that on the last lap back. That's just there. There's a huge puddle that's formed on the side of the road. I saw Rob Collard put his right-hand wheels into it, and it's going to catch other drivers out as well. It's just the water accumulating there. It's on the track, but if you get your right-hand wheels in it, obviously it locks up and you go straight on.
And it's continuing to pour with rain here at Rockingham. It'll only get wetter and wetter, no matter how efficient these Dunlop wets are underneath these cars, at clearing a massive amount of litres of water per second as they rotate. There's Frank Raffle and Aaron Smith. That is the battle for 6th position. The Dubliner at the moment got the advantage over the Toyota. The Dubliner who's going through his architecture exams at the moment, so he's got a lot on his plate, including Frank Raffle.
Well, Shedden was only 5 points behind Matt Neal coming into this race, and he's leading it, and Matt Neal is 3rd. And the difference between 1st and 3rd, guess what? It's 5 points.
So that's the difference in the championship as these guys battle for honours a little bit further down. There is your leader, Gordon Shedden. Could this be a chance for Gordon Shedden to take his 7th victory of the 2012 season? Look at the speed in the wet. They've all twigged the Rob Collard line now.
Yeah, there's just because the inside line, the line on the up the inside, Matt Neal on Plato for 2nd. Plato no defence at all.
2nd place for Matt Neal. What a fight back. What a fired up Matt Neal that we've got racing here in this 2nd British touring car race here today at Rockingham. Fighting their way through the water up to the corner where they had their moments a couple of laps ago. It's a Honda 1-2 at the moment. The MG in that 3rd position. And as we look back at Jason Plato, well, Plato said himself after winning the first race here today, they now understand the setup of the car, the nuances of it. And likewise, it was a new chassis for Team Dynamics at the beginning of the year. Very experienced teams between Team Dynamics running the UASA Racing Honda and Triple Eight running the MG for Andy Neitz and Jason Plato. So the 2 most successful teams on the podium at the moment.
Yeah, just looking at the gaps, there's Shedden. Now he's stayed away from that puddle. Look at the puddle on the left. They're all staying away from it. That's the gap back to Neil, Plato and Matt Jackson.
I think Gordon Shedden's wipers have either stopped working or he's turned them off. They were up in the vertical position.
Yeah, I mean, quite often the drivers do turn them off, especially if they're not following another car, because, as we've heard, the rain X on the screen beads up the water and it clears itself better than with the wipers on.
So Gordon Shedden got a pretty clear view. There's Tom Oslo Cole, Nick Foster, the two teammates. They are battling for 10th position, no, 11th position, because Ollie Jackson, who's returning to racing here in the British Touring Car Championship with his AMD tuning Golf, is flying as he comes over the line. There is Rathall. He's got ahead of Aaron Smith now, so that's 6th position for Rathall. Went well in the wet at Thruxton, if my memory serves me well. Yes, at a podium.
Yeah, and there's a lot of standing water now. The conditions getting really quite marginal in places, and drivers are having to adjust their lines and allow for the standing water where it gets underneath the tyre and lifts the car up, and they have to just feather the throttle or be gentle on the brakes. As both Dunlop's wets are fantastic tyres, they do clear a lot of water, but when it gets to a standing water, it gets to be really tricky.
Big lead now for Gordon Shedden, approaching 5 seconds. And this is a big moment for Jason Plato. Oh my goodness me! That was nearly a loss of 3rd position. He's picked up the grass, he's done a bit of mowing on the outside of Graceland Corner, on the approach to Graceland Corner. And it's pouring with rain. It is pelting it down.
Well, fortunately, temperatures in the wet are a lot less for the engine than in the dry, but nevertheless, he would have clogged his radiator up a little bit, and he certainly won't want to boil that over and create any overheating problems.
5 seconds, essentially, the lead of Shedden over Neil. It's a Honda 1-2 at the moment from Plato, getting away with the moment in 3rd. Matt Jackson. Then the Rathall, Collard, lots of wears. Smith's down in 7th position. There he is, battling with Rob Collard, getting in a little bit of drift on there.
Yeah, that's
tab of Oppo.
That's not the place you want to be sliding the car, really, Rob, because one snatch and you can be in the wall, and there's only one thing that gives when you hit the wall. It's not the wall, it's the car, unfortunately.
No.
But Rob's doing his very best in that car. The car, obviously, Smith's car as well is a Super 2000 car, but it's a front-wheel drive car, and front-wheel drive in the wet is slightly better. Has a slight advantage.
Oh, the two of them getting very close indeed as they go up to the left-hander. Collard's got the inside line through there. Can he make it stick? Two S2000 chassis racing each other as Smith dives on the inside through the left-hander. Will it be able to stick as they come up to Graceland's corner? Still he's on the inside. Great racing. Great respect between the pair of them. Aaron Smith maybe half a car ahead. No, the BMW gets better traction as they go down to Tarzan Corner, still side by side, but now Collard has the advantage through the 180-degree hairpin.
Yeah,
behind them,
Aaron Smith cuts back, but he's going to be on the wrong side of the road for the chicane, and behind them it's Andrew Jordan catching them both up.
Andrew Jordan, 8th position for him at the moment. After, oh, big slide by Collard. There was contact there. Was it before? It was certainly afterwards. And this is a great opportunity for Andrew Jordan to try and salvage some points against his arch rival in the Independence Trophy, Collard.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact there as they went into the chicane. Didn't see a very clear shot of it, but Collard did well to hold on to that car. He's a real battler, Rob, isn't he? He just fights for every position. He's as brave as anything. A real credit to the team and the sponsor, and doing a fantastic job. But Jordan up the inside with the superior grip of the 18-inch tyres, and he's going to pull alongside. 7th position. Can it be for number 77? Again, the BMW gets the traction out of the corner. No surprises there. Oh, are we on the RAC rally? Well, you know what? He went inside the curb, and I think the bucket load of water that went into the back bumper virtually pulled the back bumper. Oh, he's sliding the car, but Rob is doing a masterful job of just holding his line, going round the outside where he can. Fortunately, no one's giving him a big push. Oh, look at that, again, stepping out of line. Into Graceland Corner, the left-hander, Jordan's got the advantage. Collard is going to have to give second best to this one. The bumper hanging off as they come down to Tarzan here on lap 11 of 18. Andrew Jordan now getting himself up to 7th position, and for him,
That'll be 9 points if he holds it to the line. As the leaders have already come over the line, gives you some idea of the advantage that the two Hondas have stretched over the rest of the field, including Jason Plato, who is lapping some nearly 1 second a lap slower than the leader. Here's the replay. Collard just gets a bit of a tap by Aaron Smith.
Yeah, Smith just didn't carry a bit too much speed into the corner. But it's Adam Morgan now behind Rob Collard. He's come through very well and comes across the line in 9th.
There is your leader. That is Gordon Shedden. His lead just over 4.5 seconds. And this is going to be level pegging between the two of them if we put the flag out now in the championship. Oh, no, sorry, not quite. Sorry, I apologise. Matt would have a 2-point advantage.
Correct.
Next to nothing after 300 points.
Although Shedden has fastest lap, so it would be a 1-point lead, would it not? So it's going to be very close.
very, very close indeed. Now then, that's what a 4.6 second gap looks like to Matt Neal in second. Behind Matt Neal is Jason Plato, another 4.3 seconds. And then Matt Jackson again. Will he be clinching 4th position for the second time here today? He's another 2.8 back. Frank Rathall, 136.8 on the last lap. Matt Jackson, nearly a second a lap slower. And Rathall is the fastest man on the racetrack that's not a Shedden or a Neal.
Okay, as Collard now defends from Adam Morgan. Interesting, looking back, the previous corner, Gracelands, with that big wide curve and runoff area that they all use in the dry. Nobody touches it in the wet because it's too slippery to use the exit curves. But I suppose that's exactly the same contact, but this time Collard goes round. He must be very slow into that corner for 2 cars to run into the back of him. He just can't get the car turned in, and Adam Morgan tagged him in exactly the same way that Aaron Smith did.
Collard struggling with the lap time, struggling with the grip, it seems, here. As he comes over the line, he's still the leading rear-wheel drive car as the 2012 Honda Civics, plural, run away with this. Matt Neal, he's put a lap time in as Barry Plowman gets soaked, but he won't be worried about getting wet or drying out. He wants to win this race. Chief engineer down there for Team Dynamics. They're in 1st and 2nd position at the moment and on course to win their 11th race this season. Plato in that 3rd position, Matt Jackson. Rathall still closing on Jason on Matt Jackson. On Matt Jackson in 4th. That's going to be close. That's going to be close. The battle between Matt Jackson and Frank Rathall.
It is, but Matt Neal was 0.8 of a second quicker on that last lap. He's 3.8 seconds behind. Shedden could well be managing this gap, but Matt was certainly quick on that last lap. But just going back to the argument about not running wide, you see all the cars there coming through Gracelands, none of them running wide. There's a big argument at the moment in motorsport about exceeding track limits. Well, the drivers don't do it when it's wet because they don't gain an advantage out of it. So surely that's an argument for not doing it when it's dry.
And the other problem on the entry to Gracelands is it's a green painted surface. Absolutely slippery like an ice rink, even when you've got wet tyres. Now, here is Howard Fuller. What a superb run that he's having here this weekend. First ever drive in the British Touring Car Championship, driving Tony Gillam's 2011 specification Honda Civic, the same Honda Civic that Gordon Shedden drove last season. He's 20 years old, he's from Worcester Park in Surrey, and he'd never driven in the wet before, he'd never done qualifying before, and yet he was well up there yesterday, 14th position, if my memory serves me well, after Saturday afternoon. A real star for the future.
Yeah, I mean, really good performance. He's really marked himself out as a capable touring car driver. Howard Fuller drives for Team Hard in the VW Cup Series, so he's staying with the same team effectively, Tony Gillam's team, to move up touring cars, and he really has embarrassed some of the more known names and has accounted for himself very, very well indeed in his first meeting so far.
Here is Gordon Shedden, the man who drove that chassis that we were talking about last season. There goes Matt Neal. There is Jason Plato, 3rd position for him. Matt Jackson, Frank Rathall. That gap there is 2.9 seconds. Jackson has reacted and started to match the pace of Frank Rathall behind him. give or take a couple of tenths. There is Aaron Smith in 6th. Then there's Andrew Jordan, still with the wipers stuck off. He is in 7th position. Adam Morgan, Ollie Jackson, good result for him inside the top 10. And then Rob Collard with his teammate Nick Foster behind him. The BMWs at sea, literally in the wet.
Yeah, well, they would be with not enough tyre in very slippery conditions. The more tyre you can have, the more grip you've got, the quicker you can go. But it's not surprising. There's Will Bratt in the 2nd Audi, having another touring car meeting. He's accounting himself, well, in fact, he's in front of Rob Austin with the lights on. And yeah, a good result so far for Ollie Jackson. You mentioned him in the AMD Golf, the little Golf, which is a real crowd favourite, that car, and really well run by Sean Hollanby and the AMD team. Ollie Jackson's had a lot of mechanical issues, but really doing a good job here and showing how good he is.
Into the hairpin we go once more. Onslow Cole ahead of Bratt, ahead of Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith having a big moment on the first lap through that corner to try and avoid Andy Neat's already spun MG. And Jeff Smith in 15th position and on course for the final point as Nick Foster slithers his way through there.
I'm a little surprised perhaps that Collard hasn't had the black and orange flag, because that bumper looks perilously close to coming off, and if that was to come off going around the banking, say, straight into the windscreen of the car behind, it would be a very dangerous situation. It looks very tenuous the way that's hanging on.
Don't know how it's held on is the answer to that, Tim, but with only another 2.5 laps remaining here, he might just get away with it. Now we're on board with Rob Collard here, and we are going to find our way through this final chicane, through the murk. Hopefully the speed will clear the lens from the bullet cam on the right-hand side. We're right up against the wall, real sense of speed, and even in the wet, Tim, you're doing well over 110 miles an hour on the approach to this left-hander.
Just touched the wall. Did you see that just before he turned in? I mean, what commitment. I mean, massive commitment to do that. And, well, you know, they just look so good, these two.
Nick Foster takes the position away from Collard, so he comes up into 10th position. He's now the leading BMW in this race, as Collard still struggling, and the aerodynamic drag from that rear bumper, even in these wet conditions, will lose you a couple of car lengths down the home straight.
And also he's been tagged in the right rear, so the first two swapping over to get extra points for leading the race. We've seen this before, it's good team tactics, it gives an extra point to each other. Will Bratt's gone straight on. I think that's probably at the chicane, not sure, but yeah, the two of them swapping over positions to cross the line, to reverse the position, so Neil will lead across the line. I dare say he will probably give the position back to Shedden, who has controlled this race and deserved the win. That's what we've seen before.
Now Will Bratt has gone off at the second corner down into Dean, the left-hander, where these guys are approaching now. Yellow flags being waved, and with just a lap and a half to go, they might just get away with it and not bring a safety car out. So the two Hondas dominant, and Gordon Shedden getting the position back from Matt Neal. So Matt Neal gets an extra point for having led the race. You only get 1 point for no matter how many laps you lead a race for. Team dynamics on the wall there. Steve Neal obviously communicating with his two drivers to keep it safe and get it to the line. Here's Andrew Jordan though, right on the tail of Aaron Smith. Andrew Jordan, he's got a lap and a half to try and pick off the S2000 Motorbase Ford. And he can find a way through. Surely the bigger, wider Dunlop tyres underneath Jordan's car will give him more grip and more confidence if he's going to make a manoeuvre on Smith. If Jordan gets 6th after having run himself off the road, outbraking himself on the restart, that'll be the best of our job, really.
Yeah, well, Smith is the leading Super 2000 spec car, and as I expected, the front-wheel drive an advantage over the BMWs, but he's still nevertheless driven a good race.
Aaron Smith holding his line and holding his position as he goes into the Tarzan hairpin. Andrew Jordan slides it as we're on board with him. His rallycross skills coming to the fore as it continues to absolutely pelt it down here at Rockingham. And Aaron Smith holding that position as the leader starts the last lap of 16 here. Gordon Shedden, a faultless drive so far, just about a mile and a half remaining. Try as Jason Plato did to keep that second position, he was no match for the Two Works Hondas. Matt Jackson in fourth. There is fifth place for Frank Rathel, salvaging something after having broken a drive shaft and a diff in free practice yesterday. Hardly had any dry running at all. He was down in the dumps when I saw him in the pits last night.
Well, the Honda Civic is, by general agreement, the best chassis on the grid. And certainly the drivers have exploited that in these tricky conditions. The moment you get inclement conditions and less grip, the best chassis do come to the fore. Plato comfortably won the first race, remember. Can't hold a candle to these two in this race, but nevertheless he's going to get good points for third. But this race, all about the two Yuasa Racing Hondas from Team Dynamics of Shedden and Neal.
They find their way down for the last few yards here at Rockingham, and Gordon Shedden is going to rack up another victory in this 2012 British Touring Car Championship. He's running away as the driver who has taken the most victories this season. Gordon Shedden wins his 7th race of 2012. He does it in style through the wet here at Rockingham. It's a Honda Yuasa Racing 1 and 2. Jason Plato takes 3rd position, having started from pole. 4th is Matt Jackson. 5th is then Frank Rathel. And now we see who is going to take 6th position. Will it be Aaron Smith? Will it be Andrew Jordan? No, Aaron Smith. Nice tidy drive from the number 5 Ford, taking that 6th place ahead of Andrew Jordan. And now we are going to wait and see where Ollie Jackson finishes. Brilliant result for him. He crosses the line in 8th place. And then it's Adam Morgan in 9th. Nick Foster takes 10th. Collard, having such a brilliant start, fades to 11th place.
And he'll be disappointed not to have finished in the top 10, because remember, the final race is the reverse grid race, so anything from 6th to 10th can be reversed. So either Aaron Smith from 6th, Andrew Jordan 7th, Ollie Jackson 8th, Adam Morgan 9th, or Nick Foster 10th could be at the front of the grid for the last race. But Collard, whatever happens, will start 11th.
Honda now return to their statistic of winning at every racetrack this year, well, except for Knock Hill. I count Andrew Jordan being victorious at Snetterton because it's the 2012 Honda Civic chassis that, as you said, Tim, was built by Team Dynamics over the winter coming into this season. So Honda back to their winning ways, and for Team Dynamics, it's their 11th victory from 23 so far this year. As good as 50%.
A great record, and obviously Andrew Jordan's backed that up as well, and he'll be very disappointed with that mistake he made on the restart after the safety car. Well, he's pulled back to 7th, and you never know where he might be on the grid for the last race, but I'm sure Andrew will be very disappointed about that.
You've got to hand it to the marshals. Well, they may be applauding the drivers, but the drivers
should be thanking them.
Should be thanking them. Exactly, Tim.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden it's late autumn.
Yes,
early winter, isn't it?
Yes, I haven't allowed Mrs. Harvey to put the heating on yet. But let's look at the full result.
Gordon Shedden takes the victory, less than a second ahead of his teammate Matt Neal. Honda Yuasa Racing a 1-2. They dominate this race ahead of Jason Plato. Matt Jackson, another great 4th position. How much longer will it be until the new Ford Focus from Redstone Racing gets on the podium? Frank Rathel in 5th. Aaron Smith battled with Andrew Jordan, 6th and 7th. Ollie Jackson in the Golf, he got 8th. Adam Morgan, Nick Foster, 9th and 10th. Then we had Rob Collard. Howard Fuller, again, more points on his British Touring Car Championship debut weekend ahead of Jeff Smith, Tom Onslow Cole and Dave Newsham, recovering from that lock-up to score the final points. Now then, let's have a look at the all-important championship standings. Look how close it is. Matt Neal, by the skin of his teeth, is leading this championship now with 7 races remaining. ahead of Gordon Shedden. He's got a 1-point advantage. Jason Plato, he's 26 points behind the leader. He's in touch. Andrew Jordan 4th, Rob Collard in 5th, Tom Onslow-Cole. Not a great weekend for TOC here at Rockingham so far. Matt Jackson, Dave Newsham, Rathall and Jeff Smith. I think a Honda is hot favourite for this race.
Well, it could be, but this is the reverse grid race. Absolutely anything can happen. You've got the title protagonists of Shedden, Plato, Neil all starting together, 9th, 8th and 7th. But you've got Andrew Jordan starting near the front with no ballast whatsoever. But also, let's not forget, Jason Plato will have learnt from that first race in the wet where he ran in a dry setup. He'll have put a wet setup on that car, softer springing and dampers, and he, I think, will be much more competitive in this race. So anything can happen, and it probably will.
Yes, Jason Plato said that it was a little bit too stiff, the setup of the suspension of the MG for race 2. There is Andrew Jordan, there is Rob Collard making the final adjustments and touches before they get underway on this warming up lap, and a warming up lap it will be as well because the conditions quite chilly here at Rockingham. It's continuing to rain, I think, is it? Yes, I believe it is. As I look out of the commentary position, down on the pole position man, Adam Morgan, who does a practice start. Ollie Jackson will be starting alongside him. Jackson, who missed quite a bit of Saturday morning's free practice session with a diff problem. He's back in the seat though after missing Knockhill. Did well in the Porsche race here though at Rockingham in the past. So that will stand him in good stead as Morgan and Jackson will start from the front row of the grid ahead of Andrew Jordan and Aaron Smith. Frank Rathall is on row 3 with Matt Jackson, then Jason Plato and Matt Neal. They are on row 4. Row 5 is Gordon Shedden and then Nick Foster. Row 6, Rob Collard and Howard Fuller, who Paul caught up with a moment ago. Jeff Smith, Tom Onslow-Cole, Dave Newsham, Rob Austin, they are on row 8, and row 9, Tony Hughes, Chris James, their car 50 and 78. Will Bratt and Andy Neat are on row 10. It's a 20-car field here at Rockingham. Lights ablaze. It's quite dark. It's quite dreary here this afternoon, unfortunately, with the weather conditions. But as we heard a moment ago, race 3 always throws up some surprises, with the top 9 being flipped.
Yeah, but also, as Matt Jackson said, the amount of standing water on the track has really negated a little bit. It's just a wet track now, which means that the tyres will work much harder. You can see that it's just a wet track. They could overheat. There could be more tyre degradation in this race than we've seen the previous races.
So then, Gordon Shedden closing in on the championship leader, Matt Neal. The difference between them 1 point after 315 points. What's that? Less than 1/3% difference in driving over the last 23 races between Neal and Shedden. It doesn't get any closer than that. Jason Plato, whom we are riding on board with, he's 3rd in the championship and he's 26 points behind. However, he started the day 36 points behind. So Jason Plato has closed in 10, and with these last 7 races in this year's 30-race championship to go, including the one we're about to see here at Rockingham, then 3 at Silverstone in a fortnight's time, and then 3 at Brands Hatch to finish off the season on October the 21st. It may well come down, just as it did last year, Tim, to the very last race.
Well, I'm sure it will. Alan Gow always arranges it that way, and I've no reason to doubt that that will be the case now. It'll all come down to a pressure cooker last race, and well, that's what touring cars is all about. That's what we love.
Andrew Jordan comes to his 3rd position, heading the 2nd row of the grid. No wipers working except for those of Adam Morgan on the pole position with the Speedworks Toyota. Victorious in Ginetta's last year, up to British Touring Car Championship level for 2012. Alongside him, Ollie Jackson in the black and red AMD Tuning Golf. Then Jordan in the Pertec Honda. And then we've got Aaron Smith in the Ford Focus. Third row is Frank Rathall and Matt Jackson. Fourth row, Jason Plato and Matt Neal. Gordon Shedden, watch him from the front of row 5. Nick Foster, he's alongside him. We're under starters orders here at Rockingham Motor Speedway. We wait for the lights to go out and we go racing. And we do. Good start from Morgan. Not a great start from Ollie Jackson. Brilliant start from Aaron Smith in the light and nimble Ford Focus. He charges through to second position. Andrew Jordan's got a lot of work to do. I thought he would make a good start. Bit of a moment there for Tom Onslow-Cole on the inside with his BMW. Jason Plato's deep. He's going to have a look down the inside. Morgan leads.
Morgan, a great start. A little bit of creeping on the line. I think he'll probably get away with it. Anxious moments for some through that first corner. It looked like Onslow-Cole and Andrew Jordan just having a little tag, but so far so good for Adam Morgan.
So far so good for the motor-based Fords as well. They are in second and third position with Smith, with Jackson. Then we got Matt Neal in fourth. Oh, and the leader's gone off. Adam Morgan immediately has gone off. He's keeping his foot planted. He's desperate to get back under the tarmac, and that has now meant that Aaron Smith leads the race. The Dubliner is in charge with the Ford Focus, the S2000 car. Oh, that's Matt Jackson who's gone off, who was in second position. He goes off towards Graceland, so leading is Smith, second is Matt Neal, and third is the BMW of Rob Collard as Tom Onslow-Cole goes round. How in heaven's name did everybody miss him? We'll never know.
Well, I tell you what, it may be a little bit drier than it was before, but it's no less slippery. Sometimes when there is just standing water, when there's less standing water, it can be greasier, and we've seen 3 or 4 examples of that already.
Rob Collard has come from 11th to third in one lap here at Rockingham. Ollie Jackson gets hung out to dry. Dave Newsham goes through. There is Matt Jackson fighting back after his moments whilst we were looking at Adam Morgan get back onto the racetrack. There is Morgan. Over the line we go. Smith leads from Matt Neal, from Rob Collard. There's Aaron's girlfriend. She's got a very nervous 15 laps to go. Rob Collard in third position. What a brilliant first lap. Surely one of the first laps of the season.
Yeah, it'd be great to see it on board of that, wasn't it? I saw him get a great start from way back, but it all just fell into his lap as others slipped and slid their way off the track.
Jason Plato, he's in fourth place. There we have Howard Fuller coming around the hairpin. Fuller at the moment, he's in 13th position. There is Jason Plato. Now he's on the case of Rob Collard. Second, third and fourth positions as we see them there. Aaron Smith, he's under pressure from the NGTC cars and an S2000 car behind him as everybody's taken to the grass. That's one of the Vauxhall Vectras taken to the grass there. One of the Audis going through past Adam Morgan, our former pole position man. Plato looking to get past Collard as we come down to Tarzan, but Collard has got it covered
so far, but certainly Plato looks a bit more aggressive this time. He's only 2 places behind Matt Neal. He's got that man Collard in between him. You can see him using the extra grip there, but Collard won't be giving up on this corner into the chicane. He'll use the inside line to take the advantage, but watch coming out of the chicane. If we stay on board, Plato can change direction. He'll cut back to the left, hold a tighter line. Look at that. But will he get the traction off the corner? He's virtually off into the pit lane entrance there. And look at that. He's just used that traction to drive away from Collard.
That's more rubber on the road.
Absolutely. That's what it does for you, and that's why the NGTC cars are quicker in these conditions. But look at Collard fighting back through turn 1. He's a game old bird, isn't he, Collard? He'll keep going.
So this is the battle for third position. Matt Neal in second place. Where's Gordon Shedden? He is in 6th position, a little bit further back. Now this is a replay of the leader halfway around the first lap. Adam Morgan just tipped it in a little bit too late. The back came round, he kept his foot planted. Oh, that's a big off.
That's turn 1, that's a big shunt.
That is a massive shunt, Tim. Look at the rear of that car, yeah. And Jeff Smith.
Well, I'm glad it's gone in backwards because that's the safest way to go in. The driver protected by a surround seat and he gets out of the car, but that body shell will be completely written off, I think. And oh, he's aching. Yeah, he's hurt his shoulder. He's aching. Yeah, he's aching. And well, the safety car is out. They are still racing till they get the safety car boards. They've done that now, so they'll hold positions. But Well, I'd said earlier that when you hit the concrete, there's only one thing that deforms, and unfortunately it's the car. And it's amazing what looks like quite an innocent contact with the wall. It knocks the stuffing out of you in the car. He'll be winded as well as probably pulled muscles, but fortunately backwards is the best way to go with the wall. It's a lot better than if he'd gone in forwards. I think he's lost it and spun to the inside. I can't quite see, but no, he's hit the outside first, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think he went to the outside, Tim, as these guys are waiting to pick up the Porsche, which you can just see go out of shot at the top of your screen. Drama indeed. The medical crews tending to Jeff Smith, and as you say, Tim, the wind taken out of you and the adrenaline then surges through your veins as all of your senses are brought out to more than 100%. That's a big moment. He came across the line and then caught up in the ball of spray. We didn't see exactly what happened, but that's a nasty shunt. And, well, he's lucky to get out of the car unaided. That's the main thing. So, leader of this race is Aaron Smith. Oh, this is going to be frightening. There he comes. Spins it.
Just lost it, goes off. Bang! Yeah, just lost it on the apex, just the car let go. It's a front-wheel drive car at that speed, very difficult to correct. In fact, if you're always told on the ovals, don't turn into the skid because it will just flip you headfirst into the wall. So, you know, he just lost it. There's nothing he could do there. I don't think there's any driver that could have saved that. The car snapped on him very fast. We saw it in slow motion and it looked fast to me. So the good news is he's okay. The bad news is that the Pertec team, Mike and Andy Jordan, will have a lot of work to do to rebuild or reshell that car.
Yes, and it happens to the world's best. I mean, remember Takuma Sato on the last lap of the Indy 500, you know, just had to go onto the inside at turn one. It just didn't quite come off. It's, well, as the safety car continues to collect everybody up, the crews attending and recovering the sister car to that of Andrew Jordan. Andrew's in 6th position at the moment. Andrew, your wipers are working. Does everything feel good for this third and final race?
If I'm honest, no. Car doesn't feel great. I don't know whether it's just while we're getting the silicon off the top of the tyres, but really struggling with rear end grip at the minute. So trying my hardest to get it all off, or to at least try and keep them get some temperature in them under the safety car.
A little bit less water out there on the track.
Yeah, it is, but it feels like it's gone to that really greasy stage now, and you know, even through turn one, big moments, and obviously it's caught Jeff out, so hopefully he's okay. Yeah,
he got out of the car okay, and I think he's a little bit winded, but he did get out on his own, just if I could tell you that, Andrew. I'll leave you be.
Cheers, mate.
Well, as Jeff Smith gets taken away by the medical crews here at Rockingham, that's great to see. Now let's run this accident at full speed and see how violent it is. Watch for the blue car coming from the right. Here it comes now.
It's a sickening sound, isn't it, when that car goes into the wall, and well, the crew have already got that onto the back of the flatbed. You can see the extensive damage in that, and I'd be amazed if that hasn't twisted and bent the shell out of repair, but we'll see. But yeah, fortunately he's okay, and it does appear that the track is very slippery at the moment. We saw Adam Morgan go off at Chapman on the first lap. We saw Matt Jackson go off. We saw one of the bit Ontelo Cole having a massive spin. There's very little traction. Chris James has been black flagged. He's in the pits. The lights aren't working. It's a compulsory rule. When you're running on wet tyres, you must have the headlights on. If they're not working, you can't run. You can run without wipers, but you can't run without headlights. And he's not happy.
So unfortunately they couldn't get them working, even though he'd been in a couple of moments before. I remind you, we're under safety car conditions here at Rockingham. Aaron Smith leads this race, whilst that's such a sad sight to see. I saw that car being built at Team Dynamics before the season got underway, and you know the kind of effort that mechanics put in to building these cars with such love almost, and thousands of hours it takes to prepare a shell from a road car from Swindon. and then it's written off in half a second.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the second big accident Jeff had this weekend. He had one earlier coming through Gracelands, and well, James has gone to see Peter Riches, the technical scrutineer here. He wants to know why he can't run without his lights on, but the rules are straightforward. Chris, you can't. We're still clearing debris from the track. That's the wing. That'll be a souvenir for somebody, or it will go back to the team and they'll try and repair it. But yeah, that needs to be moved. And the car itself has gone on the flatbed, so I should think we could be back to racing if there's no more debris within at the end of this lap, hopefully.
I think that wing will be repaired. Do you know the cost of carbon fibre at the moment? It's horrendous, Tim.
It's a precious resource, obviously.
Absolutely. So then, Aaron Smith leads it. As we are on lap 6, we're under safety car conditions. There is the Porsche safety car. He's leading from Matt Neal, from Jason Plato in 3rd, from Rob Collard in 4th, then Gordon Shedden with the red top to the windscreen, the number 52 there.
And guess what? I don't think it's going to be... No. Well, he may think it's wrong, but you know it's important. Will Bratt's had a spin. He'll be able to catch up quickly if he's gets back to the pack. That looks like he's down the Dean hairpin. But you know, Chris might say that, but it's vital for drivers looking in their mirrors in the spray that they can see other cars with headlights on.
It's not just your headlights not working; it might mean that your rear lights are not working.
Yes,
it might mean.
Yeah,
mean. Yeah. So it's protecting the safety of the people running behind you.
Yeah.
So
safety car lights are out.
So that means that in a couple of corners' time, we will be back racing here at Rockingham.
And Neal, Plato and Shedden only separated by Collard, who is going to be fighting a losing battle. So I don't think it's going to be long before Neal, Plato and Shedden are going to be running together.
So then Aaron Smith, he's got some pressure on now. Controversy surrounding Aaron Smith with that touch with Jason Plato at Knock Hill a few weeks back. But the Irishman, he was so angry when he got out of the car, but he managed to bite his lip, and he wants to prove himself now as he comes out of the final corner, as he comes onto the home straight, as he's coming over the line, and he's got a good restart, hasn't he? Smith comes over the line. That's a good dozen car lengths. He's got ahead of Matt Neal already as we charge into the first corner. There goes Jason Plato. He's in 3rd position. 4th is Rob Collard, then Gordon Shedden. He's in 5th place, and Andrew Jordan. Here comes Gordon Shedden from 5th to 4th, passing Rob Collard's eBay BMW. The Honda goes through. So now Shedden has got Plato in his sights.
Yes, and now we do have Neal, Plato and Shedden running together. But Aaron Smith, a great restart. He really got a good drive out of that. Oh, look at him sliding, he's sliding. Oh, there's a lot of oversteer on these front-wheel drive cars, and particularly through that corner Gracelands. And he really is driving a... Oh, look at that! That was Shedden sliding as well. So all these cars struggling with rear-end grip at the moment. Andrew Jordan thought it was the release agent on the tyres, but that would all have gone off the tyres by now. They're just struggling for rear-end grip.
Well, an S2000 car leads this race, and a horde of NGTC cars with more rubber on the road, more grip, admittedly more weight, are all stacked up behind the Ford Focus as they charge out of the hairpin corner. We ride with Jason Plato, the man who is 3rd in the championship at the moment. 26 points behind Matt Neal, 25 points behind Gordon Shedden, who is behind him. Matt Neal in front of him. We're in 3rd. Let's see if he takes the Plato line. Yes, he does. Takes it to the inside. It won't be as easy a picking for Plato to get through past Matt Neal as it was for Plato to pass Collard earlier in the race, but he'll have a go.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I'm holding my breath now every time those cars go through this turn 1, because you know the cars are obviously struggling with oversteer, and through there you just hang on to the car really, and you can't feel the balance of the car. You're not slowing down and speeding up, you're just feeling the balance, and then it can let go at any moment. Ollie Jackson there sliding past Matt Jackson It's all Jacksons and Smiths in this championship.
Jackson ahead of Jackson, but Ollie coming up to 10th position there as we come back with the leaders. And there's Matt Neal. He's going to hold that. He almost ran out of arms and elbows. And that right hand, well, he won't be feeling the pain now with his broken thumb that looks like it's been dislocated. He can't hold onto the wheel with his right hand. It's just a cup that is sort of placed on the steering wheel rim, and he's got Jason Plato right behind him, and Plato can see exactly where Matt Neal is struggling to keep the grip underneath him with the Honda.
Yeah, and clearly Plato's car's handling much better in this race than it did in the previous wet race. He's right in the mix with the two Hondas. Graceland's, that right-hander, the fourth corner, is definitely the slipperiest corner on the track.
We're still with Plato, this battle for first, getting ever closer. There's now 4 cars nose to tail. This is going to end up in tears. Somebody's going to touch somebody else. You just know it's going to happen. It is British Touring Car Championship racing. Onto the home straight. We've got another 3 laps added to the race distance. That was 16, it's now 19. Smith still leads, but for how, well, I won't say how much longer. He does a lap time comparative to Neal, but Jason Plato's just a kiss quicker, and Shedden's even quicker than that on lap times.
I'll tell you what though, when you've got problems with rear end grip, what you do want is a car with a slightly longer wheelbase, and the MG is a longer wheelbase than the Civic, the Honda, so it's going to be a little bit more stable. They're coming up to Gracelands again now. It's the next right hand corner. Let's see how they get through it. They're coming up to the corner now. We're on board with Plato. Watch the slide, well, Matt Neal takes a different line there, searching out grip, and
into pit
sorry,
path.
I've been calling it Graceland and it's Chapman. Thank you.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it is the Chapman, the right-hander after the inward, you're right.
Now we're coming up to Graceland's corner, named after David Grace, who ran this place in the early days. He went off there in a Ferrari race, he told me earlier. That's why they said Graceland.
Yeah.
Never mind. As they
a hill climber as well.
5-time British hill climb champion. Correct.
Exactly.
Great driver. As he comes around the Tarzan hairpin, Aaron Smith continues to lead, but he's under massive pressure that's getting greater and greater now from Matt Neal. What a turn up for the books if Matt Neal can win this one, but Aaron Smith is going to fight hammer and tongs. He is not going to give anybody an inch.
The trouble is, you feel if one goes through, all 3 will go through. So Aaron's fighting them against a tide of, well, the fastest 3 NGTC cars and the top 3 drivers in the championship. So when Jason Plato says he doesn't deserve to be in this championship, I think he's proving them wrong.
He's leading, is Aaron Smith, and still a nice neat line under braking into the Dean corner. Second is Matt Neal, third is Jason Plato, fourth is Gordon Shedden. Oh, going wide goes Dave Newsham. He has to take to the grass. He has to go the long way to loop it round. He was battling with Gordon Shedden, and Howard Fuller has taken the same manoeuvre as well. He outbraked himself into the Dean corner. Is he going to run out of lock? He might have to just knock that back. And we've got to change of position. Plato has lost third. Shedden has got through whilst we were looking at the 3-point turn of the other Honda Civic that Shedden drove last year. So now, and here we have it, we're on board with Plato. Shedden goes through Chapman corner.
Yeah, you nearly said Graceland, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
That's my mistake.
No, I didn't. Here comes Matt Neal, looking into Tarzan corner. And has he got the inside line? Who will have the acceleration out of the right-hander? Aaron Smith goes a little bit wide. That will lose him momentum. Surely it will lose them momentum. Will Matt Neal then have a clean line into the final corner? No, he won't. Aaron Smith has put his Ford Focus there. He still leads. Great driving.
Remember, Aaron Smith has a turbocharged engine as well, so they're all in turbocharged engines, NGTC engines, slightly different engine builders obviously, but they all have turbo engines. And one thing that Ford does have is good straight line speed.
It has the straight line speed. Jason Plato off the podium for the moment, and he's lost a lot of time in that last half a lap when Shedden had got through. We've seen the pace of the Works Hondas already here at Rockingham today. The second of our 3 races a couple of hours ago, it was a 1-2. Gordon Shedden victorious ahead of Matt Neal, the first time in 3 months that Gordon Gordon Shedden and the Team Dynamics squad had won a race. You have to go back to race 2 at Croft in the latter part of June to see them victorious. There's been a Honda win since then, but that was Andrew Jordan in the sunshine at Snetterton. Oh, sliding goes Sheds onto the grass. Does he hold it? Yes, he does. And Matt Neal is putting big pressure again to the rear of Aaron Smith's Ford. It's going to be a matter of time, Tim. I'm sorry to say that about Aaron, but it's a matter of time.
It is. I mean, and here he goes up the inside. He's going to just ease off the brakes, let the car run out to stop Smith coming back. Yes, he just takes the wide line. Shedden's on the inside, but I don't think he'll get through. But yeah, good pass by Matt Neal. Was only a matter of time because it's slightly drier. I think the NGTC cars, the Ford Focus there is wearing its tyres a little bit quicker.
So then as they come through the Brook chicane once more, we come around to complete this 11th lap at 19. I remind you we've had 3 laps added after a safety car where Jeff Smith went into the wall at turn 1, and now it's the turn of Gordon Shedden to be on the inside. Can Aaron Smith take the wide line with a little bit more grip? No, he can't. He's got less rubber underneath him. But there's a wobble there from Gordon Shedden. He held it, but he's got ahead. It's a Honda 1-2 again as Gordon Shedden holds that second place into the Dean hairpin. Plato's closing up.
Yeah, but we're back now. Oh, this is Collard just losing the back end coming into the chicane. He's down in 14th place now, so that's cost him. And but he's trying so hard. 10 out of 10 for effort.
So Collard
still sliding through Chapman Curve.
Plato can sense a taste of the bubbly now. As we look at Aaron Smith, let's see where Smith is losing. Not quite tight to the curve there, but it's a wider line.
That's an interesting one now, because are Neal and Shedden going to fight for this win? Remember, Shedden was only 1 point behind Matt Neal, or are they going to just bring the cars home in that positions, maybe with a switch of positions to give each point for leading? Depends what the team tactics will be.
Are they far enough ahead of the battle for third to afford to switch positions and give another race leader and another point?
Not yet, but they may be in time. If Aaron Smith holds Plato up for a little bit longer, they can stretch their gap. But I just want to know whether they're still racing at this point, and whether Shedden has a chance to trade. Looks like he's pushing, looks very much like he's pushing Matt Neal round.
So Plato, is he managing to get past? Well, he leads over the line. He's got through ahead of Aaron Smith as we have a perfect view of turn 1 as we start lap 13 at Rockingham. Plato does make the manoeuvre stick. Aaron Smith, oh, he's got a score to settle from Knock Hill.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. I hope there's no contact between them. But you know, Aaron Smith has conducted himself impeccably so far in this race.
So then Plato's got a score to settle as well. There's a bit of needle between these two after Knock Hill. And it was the talk of the paddock as Aaron Smith looks, but I can't think that straight is long enough as he comes into Chapman for the Ford Focus to sneak through past the MG. Still Jason Plato saying in the wet second race earlier today that it was a bit nervous on the entry into the corners and a problem for Dave Newsham. Oh, that's a sad sight for ES Racing. I think
he's picked up a load of grass in the radiator. He went off at Dean, probably overheated the engine, so not a great race for ES Racing, but they did have their moment in the moment of glory up at Knock Hill for the second time this year with Dave Newsham.
So the two Hondas in first and second position, Plato through to third. Now Aaron Smith has got pressure from Andrew Jordan behind him. Jordan there in fifth with the lights ablaze, the CBT sponsor on the bonnet of the Pertec Honda. Will he be nudging that fourth position? There's Rathel, he's in sixth place, then Nick Foster, and the leader swapped him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is swapping or whether actually Shedden is just going, because Plato was potentially quicker than them, not too far behind. I think it may be that they've let the faster car go through. I'm not sure.
Shedden lapping 9/10 of a second faster than Jason Plato on that lap. Shedden leads into the hairpin. We're on lap 14 of 19. Matt Neal, the championship leader, coming into this race, slots into second place. We're with him, looking through the windscreen. Now, if the flag comes out now, Shedden will lead the title chase with 6 races to go.
Yeah, but it's going to be very close.
Whoa! Chapman corner again, Tim, isn't it?
It is. That is the slipperiest corner out there. But I just... Oh, and another big slide there as well. I mean, just shows how hard Shedden is trying. I mean, these on-boards are great shots, but Shedden is really pushing. I genuinely think that he's going for the win here.
It started to really pour with rain here. It might have been raining a bit at the start of this race. It's raining a lot now as we come round for these last few laps, and that might be catching out Gordon Shedden, but he's a pro driver. He's hanging it on a four-wheel drift. He's got his right foot planted, and he's managing to pull away, is he, from his teammate Matt Neal.
Yeah,
and Plato's coming, Tim.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. Plato is coming, and they couldn't afford to leave Shedden behind Neal if he was quicker.
Battle for fourth. Smith versus Jordan. Ford versus Honda. S2000 car versus NGTC car. Jordan will have better traction out of that final left as he goes wheel to wheel over the line underneath our commentary position into turn one. I look to my right hand side and I see them go around there, but it's the red Ford that holds the advantage for the time being.
Yeah, I think maybe Andrew Jordan's just being a little bit circumspect there, having seen his teammate Jeff Smith crash on that corner, but he's just biding his time here. He's clearly got more grit than Aaron Smith, but Aaron Smith very brave through turn one.
There you have your leading trio, Shedden, Neal, Jason Plato. Jason Plato, his personal best lap of the race last time around, a 1:37.5, a 1:39.1 for Matt Neal. That's a massive difference, and that is why Jason Plato is closing in on the two Works Hondas.
Yeah, I do think this race could have a sting in the tail. There just seems to be a sort of a meeting of the top three as they concertina gradually together over these last remaining laps. But it's Plato on the charge at the moment, as behind Jordan on the wrong side. Will he dive up the inside? That's the best way to get past there, on the inside into the Tarzan hairpin.
Behind this quintet, we've got the man in sixth position still. That's Frank Rathall. And then Nick Foster behind him with Matt and Ollie Jackson, respectively. Andrew Jordan feeds the steering into the start of the Brook chicane. I thought he had a bit of a moment there. And again, he's still on the tail of Aaron Smith, who is driving the wheels off that Ford Focus.
He really is, because there's no other Super 2000 car even close to him. And look at his bravery through the corner. Andrew Jordan a little bit quicker that lap. He's just pacing himself off the back of Smith's car. He does have better brakes, he does have better tyres, but Smith just driving absolutely the right lines to Yeah, that's what happens when you just overstep it a fraction. Just carried a bit too much speed in on the brakes, and in changing direction, the back end let go.
British Junior Rallycross champion was Andrew Jordan. Could you tell?
He won't have any worries with that little slide. That was minor compared to his efforts in Rallycross, where he spent most of the time looking out the side window. He was that sideways.
Didn't Colin McRae do so well when he drove at Knock Hill all those years ago in a BMW when it rained?
Well, he did, up until the point he pushed Matt Neal off.
Oh dear, yes. So then, the leading trio, covered by 2.6 seconds. Still, Gordon Shedden is managing to pull away from his teammate Matt Neal. Matt Neal goes very wide on the exit there. Does that give a little bit more of a chance for Jason Plato to take second place away from Neal, and another 2 points potentially for Jason Plato? Look how close he is now. Oh, this is going to come down to the wire, as Tim said earlier.
Well, these three started 7th, 8th and 9th, carrying ballast from 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the previous race, but it, you know, class comes to the top, doesn't it? Especially on a circuit like this, where you can overtake, and in conditions where experience and feel and skill make up so much of it, they have come to the fore in the first three positions.
Remember that the car leading, Gordon Shedden, has got the most amount of ballast on board, 45 kilos. That's nearly a bag of cement that you get from the builder's merchants that he's had positioned on the floor on his left-hand side. Matt Neal's got 36 kilos, Jason Plato 27 kilos on his right-hand side, because he's got a left-hand drive car. Why has he got a left-hand drive car? Because predominantly we visit right-handed circuits, clockwise circuits, so he has a better view of the corner. That was his explanation.
I don't buy that. I don't know really. I mean, most of the touring cars that you know, the professionals have driven over the years have been left-hand drive cars because they've either been built for foreign markets as well, or they're based on cars from abroad. Oh, Jordan's through. Jordan's passed. He's got past.
So he's up to 4th position ahead of Aaron Smith. We'll discuss the virtues of left and right-hand drive cars later when we have a cup of tea. And it'll be a very warm cup of tea in these cold conditions that we've got here at Rockingham today. Now this is the replay of Andrew Jordan getting ahead of Aaron Smith.
Is he going to have a slide? Is he going to have a slide? No, it's just Jordan using the superior grip to drive around the inside as the tyres go off. And now look, Plato alongside Neil.
And he's got the inside line, Tim, for turn 1. Jason Plato, he goes up on the inside. He's using his ASCAR experience, but Matt Neal goes right to the wall. Almost skims the paintwork against the white paint of Rockingham Motor Speedway. And now we've got a race on with 2 laps remaining. This is going to be championship lappery.
Well, it is. This is a real fight now. Matt Neal was very brave there. He kept his foot in. The car ran very wide up to the wall. He was flicking up bits of debris from Jeff Smith's accident later, so no one had visited that part of the track, but Plato's regrouping for another charge.
Through Chapman they go. The lights are ablaze as they go away. There is Jason Plato's mum. She's chewing her fingernails down to the quick. Can Jason get those extra 2 points and a psychological advantage, but just step up over Matt Neal before we get to Silverstone in a couple of weekends' time? This is championship stuff. There are 156 points still in play, and Jason Plato is 26 points behind Matt Neal in the championship standings.
But at the moment, it's Gordon Shedden that's going to take the lead of this championship. That was Ian Harrison. I think lip reading, he was saying not enough time now, I think he was saying. Over the curb, Shedden there. And no, that was Matt Neal, sorry, over the curb was Matt Neal. I'm surprised he's doing that with his wrist at this stage, but he has nothing to lose. He's got 1 lap to go. He wants to try and finish this race in 2nd place.
Gordon Shedden already having started this final lap. He's ahead into the distance, top left of your screen. And the windscreen wipers are going slowly. No, they've come back on again, but he's got a clear view as he brakes hard down into the Dean corner. And massive stopping power that these brakes have. I was lucky enough to have some 2 or 3 laps of Silverstone before the season in the very car that is leading this race. And it is quite amazing how they can stop in the dry, let alone in the wet. Shedden leads from Matt Neal, 2/3 of a lap remaining. Matt Neal tips it into the right-hander at Chapman. He holds his line, but still there is the pressure from Jason Plato behind the reigning champion.
Yeah, good drive by all 3 of these to come through without contact in tricky conditions. We saw how slippery it was at the beginning with lots of oversteer, but they've pulled through, and certainly the Honda has been the class act of the field today. Plato may have won the first race, but it looks like being a Honda Yuasa Racing 1-2 in races 2 and 3.
As they accelerate out of the Tarzan hairpin, lights ablaze for Gordon Shedden. When he's down with mechanical woes, such as he had at the opening race of the year at Brands Hatch, he is absolutely rock bottom. But when he's up, he's absolutely on the top of the world. He'll be flying to the moon tonight, let alone flying back home to Scotland. That is now Gordon Shedden's 8th victory in this year's title chase, and he takes the championship lead with 2 more weekends remaining. The finale really is going to come down to Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit in late October. It's a Honda 1-2 for Team Dynamics. Shedden and Neal. Jason Plato gets 3rd, Andrew Jordan 4th, and Aaron Smith, he valiantly led, but he gets 5th position. Matt Jackson ahead of Tom Onslow-Cole, and then Ollie Jackson in 8th position. Here is the pole position man. He had an off whilst leading halfway around the first lap. Adam Morgan in 11th place, just 1 spot behind Rob Austin's rear-wheel drive Audi. Gordon Shedden and Matt Neal. It has been a formation flying wet Rockingham here in 2012. Matt Neal may well have won the very first British Touring Car Championship race here at Rockingham back in 2003, but now it's Gordon Shedden who takes 4 victories at the circuit in total to Jason Plato's 5. It's going to be so close, so close. Honda now proving the pace that they have in the dry and in the wet, particularly around the corners. They may not have the turbo boost available to them compared with some of the others. That's the way the rules work. But they have got the handling and the massive experience from Team Dynamics, from Steve Neal, the man who runs the squad. Former racer himself, of course, was Steve Neal, and Barry Plowman, who was part of Tim's championship challenge when Tim won the title back in 1992. Gordon Shedden winning for the second time today of 3 races ahead of Matt Neal, but it's a Honda Yuasa Racing Team 1-2 again here at Rockingham. Jason Plato, try as he may, well, a third is very healthy indeed ahead of Andrew Jordan, Aaron Smith, Matt Jackson, Tom Onslow, Cole. It was close down there with Ollie Jackson in 8th, Nick Foster just ahead of Rob Austin. Let's have a look at the standings and let's see how close it is. 32 points the difference between the top 3, but just 3 points between Gordon Shedden and Matt Neal, first and second. Andrew Jordan in 4th. He's still leading the Independence Championship race.